Welcome to Cloud on Air, live webinars from Google Cloud. We're hosting webinars every Tuesday. My name is Geva, and today I will be talking about AppMaker. You can ask questions anytime on the platform, and we have Googlers on standby to answer them. Let's get started. AppMaker is a new G Suite product for building web applications to improve your work. In today's webinar, I'll introduce AppMaker and its key features, show some apps our customers have built with AppMaker and are using to run their business, and show you how to build apps with AppMaker in your own company. We'll have time for live Q&A at the end. Our work often involves multi-stage processes. Several user roles throughout the process, for example, help desk ticket filer versus a reviewer and respondent. Some workflows typically require data from more than one source, beyond just a single spreadsheet, as well as capabilities distributed across 2 or 3 different G Suite or other products. Customized UIs and flows make our work faster and less error-prone. To create those, we can build web apps with AppMaker. AppMaker lets employees in companies, whether they're business or financial analysts, IT developers, and just anyone who is enthusiastic about improving their team's work, build web applications that are specifically addressing their company's unique needs. Whatever vertical your business operates in, whether it's retail, finance, communications, entertainment, AppMaker lets you build applications by connecting to the data you need to process, wherever it resides and however it's collected, design UIs that are useful and beautiful for users to understand their workflows, and creating event triggers and internal logic to take the actions needed to streamline business processes efficiently. Many companies run their business using well-known apps from leading vendors for CRM, HR, marketing, as well as productivity and collaboration. These apps have been deployed as SaaS in many companies, small and large, and are used by millions worldwide. However, every company has a unique set of practices based on their vertical, customer base, and competitive advantage built over their time they are in business. These include automation of processes done manually, or using sub-ideal software combinations such as email and tables that have to be tracked separately and aligned. Many of these applications have direct impact on the business outcome. As we will see later in the webinar, the steps to build an app with AppMaker in your company is relatively short and easy. When compared to full software development, the flow is much shorter. It does not require extensive engineering software skills and has several data model creation tools and visual widgets with which you can design the look and feel of your app. There are also many actions that can be triggered on events, such as data entry. AppMaker is launched as a G Suite additional service last month. While we are still working to ensure that AppMaker meets the high standards required of a G Suite core service, we launched it as an additional service so more customers can take advantage of the product right now. AppMaker is now available to all G Suite business and enterprise customers. It's also available to G Suite for Education customers. We announced 2 significant features at the launch. One, Google Cloud SQL is now supported as the default database automatically created for all AppMaker apps, but you can still bring your own database and connect it using JDBC or a REST API. 2, G Suite admins now have oversight on the activity and usage of all AppMaker apps in their company. At Google, we are committed to providing our best available services and principles with AppMaker. That's why we are compliant with ISO, and we're also up to the standards of Google Cloud with regards to security and privacy. Our product supports accessibility, so users with different inabilities can use it easily. And from the G Suite Admin Console, G Suite administrators now have visibility over the apps running in their organization, including owners, usage metrics, and OAuth permissions. Expanded OAuth whitelisting controls mean that administrators will also be able to prevent apps from running without their approval. And distribution of apps inside the domain will be able to be run using the G Suite Marketplace. Now I'd like to move over to the second part of our talk, where we'll take a look at what customers are building with AppMaker. Our customers typically build apps to support their line of business across verticals such as retail, mobile operators, and gaming entertainment. We also see applications that help energy industry vendors control their plant process eligibility across the world and also supervise what's going on in those plants. We have mobile operators who are building their whole go-to-market program with AppMaker. And retailers are using AppMaker to create price quotation systems that take into consideration discounts, volumes, and special requirements from their customers. Apps to streamline operations and workflows are also popular in many companies. We see customers building applications to do budget tracking, project management inside their companies, build dashboards for security, and also use it for app migration. One example to illustrate this is an app built by one of our customers, Electronic Arts, to streamline a critical business process they had struggled optimizing previously. Before using AppMaker, several sheets were used to track various human resource types required to create many of their games. These human resources include game designers or studio managers, and by checking project calendars in parallel, humans were allocating the required resource to a scheduled project. It was tedious and quite difficult for EA to optimize resource allocation to get the right person on the right project at the right time. After building the app with AppMaker, the matching between a project need and available human resources is done by an algorithm automatically, reducing allocation errors and achieving higher resource efficiency. In the future, EA is thinking about iterating based on allocation optimization learnings from using this app and introducing it to future versions of the app. Another example comes from ATB, a financial institution customer from Alberta, Canada. At ATB, there is a large number of processes that involve a customer-facing team member sending information requests to the operations team for additional processing at the back end, at the back office. A leftover from their Microsoft days, many of these requests involve filling a Word Excel form that gets emailed to a shared inbox for processing. This was time-consuming and made it difficult for both the requester and processor to track their work. Some of these request types have now moved to a Google Form solution, but for ones that could benefit from having workflow controls and functionality such as request status and assignments, or ones that need extra validation or calculation, ATB turned to AppMaker and built apps like the one we see here. For a foreign cash purchase sale request, the app gives every bank teller an easy way to request foreign cash on behalf of customers and provides a way to track all the requests. Additionally, The app reads exchange rates from the ATB website to populate the suggestion box for currency with the accurate exchange rate every day. ATB is using several other AppMaker apps for their loan management process. A banker's loan limit checkup, a centralized way to review and process loan applicants' questionnaire and match the right product for them, while another app schedules appointments with the right bank representative at the closest branch. As you can see, the apps our customers built are branded with their logo and styles, so they can look an integral part of the corporate business. Fun fact, AppMaker started out as an internal product at Google, and today we have hundreds of AppMaker apps running internally. Most Googlers are not aware they're using an app built by AppMaker, as it looks and feels just like any other corporate app. Globe Telecom is an international telecom provider from the Philippines that has 65 million customers. They have built several internal operations apps that streamline their workflow and actually changed their paper trail processes to be automated completely. One of these applications is a travel approval app that allows every employee that needs to travel somewhere to request their travel itinerary and get it approved through the chain of approval within less than 2 days, whereas previously it took over a week and involved a lot of paper mailing inside the company. Another app that they've built is the Memo app, which is patterned from the memo routing template in AppMaker and used by all their employees to standardize the memo content and also contribute to paperless environment in their company. They have thousands of employees using AppMaker apps currently, and they're looking to expand and build even more apps using the product. Now let's take a look at how we build an app with AppMaker. I'll show how we do this in 5 easy stages. The first one is to define your data model and connect to data sources. This means that we have to define what data our app is going to be working with. And the most popular way to do this is to import a table from a spreadsheet, which can be done easily. And that creates a table in the SQL database that is created automatically for every app that we start building. If you don't have a sheet with a table ready, you can define your data model manually by defining the fields one by one. The second stage is to design the UI of the web application. Here, anyone can choose from a palette of widgets what the web pages will look like for both data entry using forms and to present data to the users of the application in tables and other widgets like maps. You can also change the styling here by formatting the spaces on the page and what the overall layout will look. And you can also adjust it to be good for mobile devices. You can also apply your brand identity, as we saw for our customers, with HTML and CSS code that will run on the browser. The next phase is to bind the data to the UI elements and trigger in-app events. This is the stage where you actually outline the flow of the application. You decide what happens once somebody enters data, for example, and also invoke automatic actions like sending an email or just stitching the flow of the internal logic of the workflow that you're automating. Once this stage is done, we move over to defining the user role. As I mentioned earlier, users of the app can be different and can have different permissions to do different actions in the app. Some people enter data into the app, some people view reports, some other people take actions. So we can define all these roles inside the app. And once this phase is done, we can preview our app to see what it will look like in reality. And once it looks fine to us, we can publish it into the domain, and then other users can start using it. To start building AppMaker apps in your company, please check out Google's developer site on the AppMaker section. Now, please stay tuned to the live Q&A. We will be back in less than a minute. I'll now take a few questions from the audience. First one is, when will AppMaker be FedRAMP certified? FedRAMP is a certification for US government institutions, and we are right now in the process of possibly getting this next year. The process of getting FedRAMP certification is usually pipelined into an agency that does that for different software products, and AppMaker is in the queue to be certified sometime in 2019. Next question, can I publish apps outside of my domain? Right now, this is not possible. The reason is that we follow strict security policies with Google Cloud and G Suite. The way that we are going to approach this is to extend the reach of AppMaker both to users and domains in several stages. And one of the first ones would be to share applications across domain. The way to do that right now is, let's say, between two different companies, you can package your application in the first domain and send it over to the second domain offline, and then deploy that application in that domain. One of the other areas that we are looking to expand is to allow users outside of the G Suite domain to use the AppMaker apps, but we still don't have an ETA for this feature. So stay tuned in the following quarters to hear when we do that. Next question, can you build mobile applications with AppMaker? So the answer is yes, and we have various customers that have already deployed mobile applications. The way they did it is that they designed the web pages to fit mobile screens and tested them, and they're already using them in production. We do not have ways to support complete responsive design in AppMaker right now, but what we are going to do in the following quarters is to provide interim stages where you can have different viewports and also design the breakpoints in your screens so that applications look better on mobile devices. In the future, we'll also have mobile-specific widgets, but these will probably come sometime in 2019. Next question, besides Cloud SQL, can you connect to other databases? As I mentioned during the presentation, we support any database that can be accessed through JDBC or a REST API. That covers a lot of databases in the market. And you can connect to those databases by coding, as part of the app, a service that will access that API. So you can add access to any database that you have either already working in your company or that you want to deploy with an AppMaker app. It will involve coding, though. So if you don't want to have any coding involved with accessing a database, we recommend using the default Cloud SQL that can accommodate any data imported from various sources. Is it possible to build workflow apps with AppMaker? Yes, I think we tried to demo here an application built by Globe Telecom, for example, that showed how a travel approval process, which is a workflow starting from an employee asking for a travel itinerary to be approved, mentioning the reasons for the travel, the business need for that. That goes on to a second person that calculates the cost of the travel suggested, and also sees whether it's in cap or out of cap or requires specific approval from the financial point of view. Once this is approved, a manager has to approve this, and finally, someone from the operations that does all the travel bookings. So all this process has been built in a single AppMaker app. There are different types of users there, people that file their approval request and people that review it and approve it. And that's an example of a workflow that you can build with AppMaker. There are many more. And you can also check out some of our templates inside the product to see other workflows that can be supported by the product. To summarize, I'd like to remind that AppMaker is a new G Suite product that allows to build web applications with easy access to G Suite APIs and in a built-in Cloud SQL database over which you can build line of business applications and workflow operations in your company pretty easily. And to check those out and try them themselves, please refer to our developer side under AppMaker section. Thank you so much for watching. Please tune in next Tuesday for the next Cloud on Air.